CBS News congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill, and she joins us now. So, Nancy, what are you hearing about the meeting President Obama had with the Democratic leaders?
Well, what we're hearing, Vlad, is that he urged them to fight the good fight, that he said he was sad that he wasn't going to be able to carry on with them, that he envied, actually, the fact that they still had this bully pulpit of being in Congress to make the case. But he really didn't have much specific advice for Democrats when it comes to what to do now to try to save his signature legislation, Obamacare. He's urging them to get out there in the public domain and make the case that this law, while flawed, has been by and large a success, has saved lives, that to repeal it would immediately send millions of people back into a situation where they don't have health insurance. But beyond that, there really is no legislative strategy being discussed because Democrats are well aware that they simply don't have the votes to block repeal.
So there's talk that Donald Trump wants to actually sign an executive order related to Obamacare on day one. Can you talk to us about that, Nancy? How extensive would it be and what might that look like? And can you do it?
Unclear. We didn't get any specifics from the vice president-elect when he was here on Capitol Hill. He simply told House Republicans in a closed-door meeting that was going on at the same time that President Obama was meeting with Democrats that Mr. Trump wants to move very aggressively on day one to roll back Obamacare and other Obama initiatives, and that he will take executive action where appropriate. So what that executive action would look like, how extensive it would be, is sort of left up to the imagination right now. What we do know is that Republicans have already started the process here on Capitol Hill of repealing the law. And early next week, we'll see the first vote on a bill that would essentially fast-track the repeal process, enable Republicans to repeal large swaths of the health care law within the next month or two.
Nancy, we heard Speaker Ryan earlier talking about how the Republicans have a replacement plan in mind. He sort of chuckled when somebody asked him about that. But nothing has been made public. I want you to listen to what Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer said about the replacement. I want to get your reaction out of it.
We have no idea what to put in place of the Affordable Care Act. For years, they've talked about repeal, but for 5 years now, they have had nothing to put in its place.
All right, Nancy. So when do you anticipate hearing details about the Republicans' plans for replacing the ACA? Paul Ryan saying they've got one, but so far, no specifics.
No specifics and no indication of when we will see specifics. Keep in mind that Republicans now will have the burden of essentially putting forward two plans. One for how they are going to essentially create a stopgap so people don't immediately lose health insurance once they repeal the Affordable Care Act. They say they want that transition process. The House Speaker says, oh, we have a plan, but in reality, there's nothing on paper yet. And then step two is what do they replace it with? And Senator Schumer is right that it won't be easy for Republicans to come to some kind of consensus about what the replacement should look like. There has never been much consensus in the past on that point. That's why we've never seen a fully formed Republican alternative to Obamacare, even though Republican leaders often promised us that their alternative was going to be revealed right around the corner. It was difficult enough for Democrats to agree on what they wanted the health care law to look like in the first place. So the notion that Republicans are going to quickly be able to agree on a replacement when some of them think that parts of the law should be saved and others think that it should simply be ripped out at the roots and that everything should be turned back over to the private marketplace, you can see that this is not going to be an easy process.
Nancy, before we let you go, I want to ask you, there were some reports that as President Obama left the Capitol today, he said, look out for the American people. What's the buzz about this comment? Anything?
He was shouted a question from a reporter who said, what was your message to Democrats in that meeting, and he said his message to them was, look out for the American people. So that's what he meant in that offhand remark. We were sort of expecting that since he was here on Capitol Hill to urge Democrats to be very vocal about Obamacare and saving it, we thought he'd probably stop and say a little more himself and follow some of his own advice. But he ended up leaving the Capitol without saying much to reporters, though we know that he and other top Democrats do have some speeches planned in the coming weeks where they will talk about what could happen if the law is repealed and there's nothing waiting in the wings to replace it. They've actually said, look, we're willing to work with Republicans on a replacement. If they've got ideas, we're open to them. We want to work with them. But they believe, and there are some Republicans who believe as well, that it is a mistake to go about the repeal process before there's even a shell of an idea about what is going to come next.
All right, CBS News congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes on the Hill for us today. Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome.